gentlemen, boys and girls, and all you raving Blood Bowl fans out there, welcome to another Snot League recap from yours trusty, Henry Snotson. Let's jump right into the matches. In the first match of the season, the Chaos Halflings squared off against the Relic Slan team in a match that promised brutal action and delivered even more. The Halflings were gearing up for a bloody game, though they might not have specified in their prayers whose blood was supposed to be spilled. They clearly underestimated the preparation of the Temple Guards, who spent ample time getting ready for the showdown. The match kicked off with a thunderous moo echoing across the pitch. It turns out one of the Minotaurs took a hit from a Saurus right after the first whistle and went down like a sack of potatoes, and was eliminated from the game. His fellow Minotaur didn't fare much better, finding himself turned into prime beef by the fourth turn. But the Halflings didn't just sit back and take it. Oh no. They dished out some hits of their own, attacking both the ball and the opposition with all the ferocity you'd expect from these pint-sized pugilists. Despite their best efforts, the scoreboard showed a decisive 2-0 for the Lizardmen by the end. Now, the Halflings are on the lookout for a new Minotaur, but I suspect they might have a wee bit of trouble finding someone willing to step into that particular pair of hooves. And that, my friends, is just the beginning! Hold on to your helmets, folks, because we've just witnessed a nail-biter! The Bilbali Ballers kicked off their season with a victory over Al Nasser, finishing first match with a score of 2-1. But let me tell you, this game was anything but straightforward. The first touchdown for Coach Moranian's squad was a grueling affair. Until the final whistle, it was uncertain whether they could carry that ball to the end zone. The undisputed star of the first half was Brahim Sumbul, who pummeled two of Arabia's eunuchs so hard that one of them is now guarding virgins in the afterlife. We even have some post-matchup interview with Brahim. Let's hear what he had to say about that first half.
Thank you. I was born in Arabia as a slave. I was supposed to go to Eunuch Mountain. They do unspeakable things here. I managed to escape unharmed, but not everyone is that lucky. Have you seen George? He got neutered. Of course he had no fighting spirit. Those sheikhs just think if someone got muscles, it makes them a good fighter. Heard about armor? Nah, these sheikhs just don't care. They're just sending my brothers to die.
But you know what? I lived. Hey, Nazir, you hear me? I'm alive, and you can suck my big, uncut...
Thank you, Brahim, for that rather refreshing information. Let's go back to second half of that match. Fuming with rage, Sheikh Kafir ordered a swift offensive to level the score. This time, Al Nasser set a pace that the Ballers couldn't keep up with. But in a spectacular solo run, Tlaxia Bella managed to secure the final touchdown, sealing the score at 2. One for Astalia. You've got to hand it to Joseph Moranian. His new project, fresh off a championship win, isn't disappointing so far. The Bilbali Ballers are off to a flying start. The Centaurs gallop to a phenomenal 3-1 victory over the Electric Boogaloo Carnival. Now, you wouldn't have guessed that from the start, as the Carnival crew opened with a surprising ball steal and took an early lead of 1-0. However, the blazing sun wasn't kind to our circus performers. With each drive, many of the Carnival's players couldn't make it onto the field, leaving those who did in a precarious 2-versus-11 situation. Remember, folks, proper hydration is the key to success, even if you are a demon. With no real opposition on the field, the Centaurs trotted over the goal line time and time again, racking up touchdowns with ease. This game was a stark reminder that in Blood Bowl, anything can happen. The Elf Maidens of FC Avalorna had a rough start in their debut match against the Norscan Dwarfs of Team Peel OBZ. Things got off to a chaotic start when Peppa Guardiana was shoved off the pitch straight into a throng of overly enthusiastic fans. Each one wanted a piece of her outfit as a souvenir, resulting in a rather painful injury for the elf. The complaints from the elves then began pouring in about the brutality, the hair-pulling, the kicking, and the scratching. But come on, ladies, this is Blood Bowl! Not a fluffy social media platform. What did you expect? Despite their grievances, our whiny elves managed to score the first touchdown. The dwarfs, however, weren't about to back down. They steadily gained the upper hand on the field. Their trusty bear boars not only provided much-needed ale to their players, but also mercilessly stomped on any fallen elves. The referee, listening to the elves' endless complaints, eventually sent the boars off with red cards. Before the final whistle, the dwarfs managed to equalize. They entered the second half with a comfortable advantage, but FC Avalorna was relentless. They kept targeting the ball carrier, showing a level of tenacity that was quite impressive. At one point, they even managed to steal the ball. However, Lionella Mercy tripped, and just before her flawless face met the muddy ground, handed the ball off to a teammate. Unfortunately, her teammate quickly became a target for the dwarfs, who promptly took her down and reclaimed the ball. Just when it looked like the dwarfs were about to clinch the win, Chib slipped and also made a faceplant in the mud. Thanks to this slip, the game ended in a tie. And let's not forget the breaking news of the day. No one died in this match. The Undertaker might be grumbling, but that's probably a good thing, right? In a clash between two teams associated with the ruinic forces of chaos, you'd expect violence, blood, and even more violence. But what we got was more of a friendship match. It seems the blazing sun had a bit of a tempering effect on both the dwarfs of Black Potatoes and the demonic samurai of Kamikazen. Many players conveniently declared themselves unfit to play whenever possible. Looks like sunshine is a great remedy for chaos. I wonder if the presence of the Inquisition had anything to do with it? Regardless, back to the events on the field. Fans were mildly outraged by the dwarfs engaging in a game of passing the ball around. Is that Devarwish? I'm starting to think there's something off with these dwarfs. The final score was a calm 1-0. But as you can see, our bye-bye meter and boo-boo counter didn't even budge in this match. Now on to the other games. The match between the Witch Hunters of Chainlinks and the Half-Orcs of Deadrock Rumblers was an intense showdown. The Orcs had some trouble picking up the ball, and their opponents are not called Hunters without a reason. As soon as they saw an opening, the Chainlinks launched a group attack from the middle of the pitch, yelling, "Burn the ball!" The entire first half was a fierce struggle for possession, with neither side managing to carry the ball into the end zone. The second half saw the faithful warriors of Sigmar starting without both of their witch hunters, putting them under the pressure of the green-skinned brutes. This pressure seemed to inspire one of the Sigmarite priests, who, in a fervent prayer to the Heldenhammer, struck an ogre with such force that the poor creature had to be dug out from the ground. In the ensuing chaos, the Chainlinks attempted to carry the ball, but Caleb Hadrian, the same priest, probably tired from his previous religious showdown, hesitated and was subsequently taken down. Seizing the moment, the Greenskins didn't waste the opportunity. They took possession of the ball and scored a touchdown in the final minutes, winning the match 1-0. Despite brutal fight, no one dies. Congrats. Only Ogre will be curing his wounds in Stitch and Fix Medical Clinic. In a late-night showdown, we are the Pirates faced off against the Forest Goblins. Before the match, Andrew Jayton, one of the Spider Riders, received a golden statue of Nuffle from his fans. Forced into a defensive stance, the Corsairs opted for a typically elven strategy of slowly conceding ground. This seemed to suit the goblins just fine, as they began their tribal dances, which mostly involved jumping on the prone elves, and steadily advanced. The referee, strangely blind to the elves' protests, even when they displayed a comrade with a dislocated shoulder, allowed the goblins to continue their antics. In the second half, the elves tried to equalize with an attack down the left flank, but it failed spectacularly, ending with one elf being torn apart by enraged fans. Yes, they really hate elves. With only 5 somewhat intact elves left against a full army of goblins, orcs, and spiders, the Corsairs could only attempt to deny their opponents a second touchdown. Unfortunately, even that plan fell apart when the Bosman took a nasty tumble, giving the goblins ample time to calmly secure a 2-0 victory. Defiant Snots and Citywood residents closed out the first round, but anyone expecting a gentle game between teams of adorable fairies, unicorns, and serene druids was in for a rude shock. Fathers had to cover their children's eyes, and mothers fainted when Mr. Hoof, one of the charming unicorns, impaled an opponent on his horn, killing him on the spot. And that wasn't the only bloody scene of the match. Medics were kept busy tending to 8 injured players. The game ended with a 3-1 victory for the Woodland team. If you'll allow me a brief digression, hey, Chaos teams, take notes on how to make your games exciting. We want blood in this Blood Bowl. Apologies, I don't know what came over me. So that wraps up the first round, right? Goodbye, and see you in about 2 weeks.